Howdy, Beefalo Bart here, and welcome back. Gonna let everybody kind of get situated here and wait for people to start joining in. Okay, so I had a few people that said they were going to be stopping back in on this one and asking questions, so we'll let that go and try to let people get gathered in. In the meantime, something that I've done 100,000 times before, and you've probably seen before, and if you have not, then we're going to cover it one more time. What we're going to do is, since we've prepared the project with my simple multiplayer Steam template and with the Polygon Town asset pack from Cindy Studios, we kind of have the wrong character here. Kind of need to have the right kind of character. So that's going to be the first thing that I'm going to do, is we're going to change our character out to a City Studios character from this asset pack. And this particular one just happens to have, how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 9 different characters. So the first thing we're going to do is make sure we've got our characters folder, but we're going to go ahead and create a new folder in here called Animations. Okay, so with the animations folder there, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go to our mannequin folder for our UE4 mannequin, characters, mesh, and then we're going to go into our UE4 mannequin skeleton, and we're going to select our rig. Now, if you don't have retargeting manager tab already here, then just click right here and it will add the retargeting manager tab. We're going to select our rig, select humanoid rig, which is a default one. Okay, now for some reason Unreal Engine 4 and Epic decided that they're going to have their character in an A pose, Y pose, whatever the hell you want to call it. I call it an A pose because it looks like an A, but I've heard it referred to as A pose, Y pose, whatever else. Everybody else on the planet, they use a T pose. I'm going to go ahead and hit apply to asset because we need to. But what I'm going to do actually is change the character out to... that guy is fine. Yeah. So that's going to be our default character. But everybody else on the planet uses a T-pose, meaning the arms are straight out. And that's a problem. So we're already set to select the humanoid rig on this character. That's fine. We'll leave it at that. And we're going to hit save because we changed the preview mesh. We want our character to match that. So the first thing we have to do is we're going to need to make our mannequin, we'll make Manny look like a T-pose. And by doing that, I'm going to left click on the upper arm, just somewhere in here for the upper arm, and then I'm going to rotate it up by 50. Okay, now I'm going to go to the lower arm, select somewhere here on the forearm. I'm going to rotate it back by 10. You can see that kind of... Nope, let's actually rotate it back by 30. So that's going to straighten the arm out. But since we did that, we need to also rotate it down by 10 so it straightens it out this way. We're going to select the hand, not any of the fingers, but the hand. We're going to rotate it up by 10 to match that. So the next thing we want to do is the same thing on the other side. We're going to rotate the upper arm up by 50, lower arm down by 10, back by 30, and then raise the hand up by 10. And that's going to simulate that he's now in a T-pose. So what we want to do now is click on Modify Pose, use Current Pose, and then Save. Now he's set. We can close both of our skeletons. Now, there's something else that I'm going to do because I will probably on this project add in more Cindy Studios Polygon assets. Okay? So to prepare for that, I'm going to go back to my characters folder and I'm going to create a new folder called Mesh. Okay. So in this Mesh folder, what I'm going to do here is this works for almost every one of the other Cindy Studios characters. I'm going to come back to my Polygon Town Meshes characters folder, and this Aske underscore character town skeleton, I'm going to take it and I'm going to left click on it and I'm going to drag it over to the blueprints, the character's mesh folder, and I'm going to copy here. Now I'm going to select it, I'm going to hit F2, and I'm going to change this to SK underscore polygon. So that's my skeleton for the polygon. Now I'm going to go into it, and there is no preview mesh associated with it, and because we don't have one. Hey, welcome back, man. So we're going to set this up to where this is going to be our default skeleton here for all of our Cinti Studios polygon characters. Did you catch the first part where I was doing the UE4 mannequin? We're going to the mannequin and mesh folder, go in and change him to a T-pose. All I did was I raised the upper arm up by 50, the lower arm down by 10 and back 30, and the hand down 10. I've got this in all of my videos where I'm retargeting. So, if you didn't catch that, you can always go back and watch the first part of the video over again. Yeah, it'll be on the first part of the video. You'll see it. I do this in almost all my videos. So back to my characters here. What I'm going to do is, now that I've got a new skeletal mesh or my skeleton now for my Cinti Studios characters, I'm going to left click on this guy, or gal actually, the daughter. Then I'm going to hit shift and left click here, and that's going to select all of them, because there is no drag and highlight and select that way. But with all of them selected, I'm going to right click on anywhere on there, and I'm going to skeleton, and I'm going to assign skeleton. Because they are already using the same skeleton, I just created a copy of it and gave it a new name of SK Polygon. Now I select SK Polygon there and hit accept. And we're going to have to keep doing this for every one of them that I had highlighted. Like I said, this works for almost every one of the Cinti Studios characters that are here. So if I add in another asset pack, and what I'll do here in just a minute is I will add in the Polygon Heist pack, just so we'll have some guns to work with too. And masks if we want to add those in later too. So now I'm going to go ahead and hit save all. Remember, you're the master of your saves. Now we can go back to our original one that we copied over, SK Polygon. Now we can open it up, and now we have options. So now I want to select, we were doing Father 1, and I'm going to hit apply to asset, and I'm going to hit save, and now we are ready to start retargeting. So there's an animations folder right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to left click on third person anim BP, the one with the orange bar at the bottom. I'm going to hit F2 like I'm going to rename it, but I'm not. I'm going to hit Control C to copy it. So I copied the name. Now I'm going to select it again, right click, retarget anim blueprints, duplicate anim blueprints and retarget. I'm going to select my SK Polygon, and then I'm going to go to my replace box right here, and I'm going to hit Control V. It's going to put all that third person anim BP stuff in there, and I'm going to call this unarmed ABP for animation blueprint. Then I'm going to hit the change folder, and I'm going to go to my character folder and animations, select OK. So you can see we've got both of our characters in here. They're both in T poses. We're all good to go. Now all I have to do is hit retarget and save all. Now we can go back to our player blueprint, which is for my simple multiplayer Steam template. Comes with one called player_base. You can see I've got two cameras in here already, and what I'm going to do is select mesh, go to my mesh over here for skeletal mesh, and I'm going to change this over to Father 1. He's going to snap to a T-pose because we need to change the anim class now to our unarmed animation blueprint. The camera will work even though it looks dorky as crap, but we're going to go ahead and fix it. To properly fix this, because UE4 is weird sometimes, there's an arrow to the left of perspective, and click that and uncheck real time. That's going to freeze him in place. Now we can select our FPS camera, which is the one right here that's messed up. Go to our select and rotate objects, right click and move around because sometimes it doesn't change, and then we're going to rotate it back by 90 degrees, and we're going to rotate it this way by 90 degrees. Then we're going to change to our select and translate objects, and then right click to move around so we get the right arrow again. And we're going to move it up. See, with our snapping, it's not going to be perfect, but we'll get close enough. But I want it to be closer than that. So I'm going to change this number right here. You got enables or disables snapping to the grid. I'm actually going to go to the right of it and select 5. So it moves over by 5 units. Well, if you don't want that, you can select it to 1. And we want it to be right there between the eyes. And that looks good right there. And now we want to move the camera forward a little bit, so it's just a little bit. We don't see much of anything of the face sticking through. Maybe the mustache is fine. And that's going to lock it in place there. Now we can compile and save and hit the arrow again, go back to real time. And you can see, we're not going to see the big blue cameras. So if we go in here now and we hit play, we now have our dude. We can walk around, animation works, we can jump. If I hit the V key, it's going to go to my first person camera. I can see my feet. We can walk around. Whenever I'm doing shooting and stuff like that, I usually go in this mode right here so that I can draw a cursor or a crosshair in the middle of the screen, and it allows me to get back to it. So if you're going to go for a game that's going to have some shooting and stuff like that, then tell everybody, first off, you got to learn how to love before you can learn how to kill. Right? God, there's some damn knobby knees, bro. What's up? You need to pack a little fat on your ass so you can get rid of them weird-ass knees. The next thing that really bugs me is there's no sound whatsoever. It is absolutely bland in here. Kills me. Another thing that really kills me also is, I'm going to show this again. Look at all this stuff right here that are in the root folder of the map. Well, next thing I actually want to do is I want to go ahead and close my player. I'm going to select File, Save Current As. Select my Maps folder if it's not already selected. Make sure it's in the root Maps folder and not in Polygon Town. This is going to come in handy later when you're packaging this up to play it. So we're going to call this our town_map and hit save. So now we have a new version of this map, and this is the one that we're going to use. Now if you're using my Simple Multiplayer Steam template, then if you want to play on this map now, you're going to have to make a quick change. So we go to the UI folder, widgets. First off, let's go back to our maps folder. If you have to make sure you're getting this absolutely correct. Now left click on it once to select it, hit F2, Control C, and now I've got it copied to my clipboard of the exact name, punctuation, with the right capital letters and everything else in it. Then I'm going to go to my widgets folder, main menu widget, go to my graph. I'm going to scroll in. This is going to be under make server button. So when we actually go into play, I'm going to left click here, Control V, and paste that in. Now when we have more maps, I'll show you how we can do that to add more maps into it later. But for now, we just are going to have the one map. So I'm going to select here as well for the single player button and Control V. So when we open the level, we're going to open to the new level that we're working on. So now, if we were wanting to play this like a player is doing it, then we go back to our maps folder, go to main menu map, and then we're going to play standalone game. So it's going to load up the project just like you're actually playing the game in a full window right here. And if we hit single player, it's going to take a moment. You see we got our Steam functionality there. Now we're playing in our map. Instead of going to the generic lobby map, it now goes to this map. We hit escape and go back to the main menu. I want to host a multiplayer game. And it'll do the same thing. Take a second and poof, go right in. So now this is our main map for playing on. This is it. We are there. So you can hit escape again, you can hit resume game, or hit escape and go to the main menu and exit. So that's that. Now that we have it functional that way, if you are going to use my simple multiplayer Steam template, then there's another thing we're going to have to change. Hit Edit, go to Project Settings. This is very important to do if you're using my template. We're going to look right here. We're going to go to Maps and Modes. It's going to default to the main menu map, and that's fine. And this is all good. We don't really need to edit anything in this. Where we actually need to go to is Packaging. So this is where you can actually get your staging directory. You can leave that default or change that. But you're going to look right here under Packaging tab. Click on the arrow here to show Advanced. Just scroll down. You can change your localization package to whatever language you want to if you need to. But what I'm looking for is right here. List of maps to include in a packaged build. If you've got 15 test maps and other maps that you're not going to want in your project, then you can just say, okay, these are the only maps that I want in there. So list of maps to include in packaged build. We're going to open this tab. And now we need the main menu map to stay. We don't need the lobby map. So I'm going to click the dots right here. There's going to be choose files from computer. It should open up to the right project area. If it doesn't, go to it. We go to the maps folder, and we're using town_map.umap. Not the build data, but the .umap. And then just select open. And it's done. All you have to do is just close that. So now when you go for packaging it, we're always going to use this as our saved map for our general gameplay. Alright, so the next thing I want to do is, like I said, it's plain, it's quiet. I just want to add a little bit of sound. If you got some things you want to see, let me know. But we're starting simple and working up. Alright, I don't need Polygon folder up. I need my audio folder. I want to add some background sound. So I'm going to go to my assets folder, and I'm going to create a new folder called audio. Now, again, if you are using my template, then it's going to come with some base materials. This polygrass will look very similar to the grass of the grass used in here whenever you actually put it down. It's relatively close. So what I was trying to do was copy some of the City Studios colors and match them up that way. They're already set up as materials. So if you have your own custom meshes or whatever, then you can do that. Nature sound. Okay, it seems a little loud right here, but I'm going to use this nature sound. If you're going to do it this way, you have to keep in mind that these need to be 16-bit waves. That's terrible, isn't it? But all I'm going to do is, I'm looking at it right here, is I'm going to left click and drag it into the project right here, and there we go. It's in. So we can hit the arrow right there, and we can hear it. But I'm going to hit save all. I'm going to stop it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click on it, and I'm going to create a queue. And I'm fine with the name nature_queue. And then I'm going to go into the nature_queue. And first thing I want to do is drag this is the actual wave file itself. And I'm going to click on looping so that it will play continuously. And if I wanted to add sound attenuations or any other variables in here, I could do that. I'm not going to. I'm going to save, and we're going to close. Now, there's two ways that we can do this. We can actually just take this sound cue and just drop it into the map, hit play. Let's see, cancel, close, whatever. I'm going to go back into selected viewport. It's kind of loud, but it works. It will work that way. It's just that easy. Just grab it, drag it, drop it, done. However, I'm not going to do it that way. I'm going to show a different way. So we'll do save all, make sure everything is good. Now, we've got all this stuff up here. I'm going to select blueprints and open level blueprint. And we're going to get rid of event tick. We don't need it. Then from event begin play, we are going to play sound at location. we're not going to select the location. It's going to default to 0, 0, 0. We're going to select our nature cue. Then I'm going to come down here and yeah, I mean, you can actually create a moving sun and change it to where it transitions from daytime to nighttime. It takes a little longer, and I'd have to remember how to do it because I'm old and I forget things. We're going to go to volume multiplier, and I'm going to change this to 0.5. It's going to cut the volume in half. Compile and save. Now when we begin to play, it's going to begin playing that sound. It's not quite as loud as it was before. It's half volume. So if you want it to happen, you're going to have to run a timer event on it. But like the sun up here. I'm showing another video on how to do this, and I won't cover it right now. But you can actually take and make it to where the sun will actually move. It will travel across the sky, and the lighting will change from daytime to nighttime. And if you're using the default UE4 sky, which this is not, then you'll actually see the clouds go away or change a little bit. The lighting will turn to black in the sky, and you'll actually see stars up in the sky. It's actually pretty cool. Actually, in that other project that I had, was it this one, training, where we're shooting the bad guys, and that, I think I actually have the day-night cycle set up in this one. Maps and level 1. Yeah. So this is the default UE4 sky. You can see the clouds and everything else up there. Using this default right here, one of the things you'll have to look at is in the map stuff folder. Skylight, Sky Sphere. Yeah, it's been a while since I've actually done it. Light source needs to be movable. Let's go to the map blueprints. I can't remember if I did it or not. Yeah, I did. It's built-in functionality to actually do this. So there's my begin play with the sound on it. And on event tick, what I'm doing is I've created a variable called speed, which I'll probably copy this over to that project, but it's using a different sky. Update sun direction based on the sky sphere. So sky sphere, yeah, with sky sphere you can actually just type it in. It's actually a workable node, but I'll let it sit on the screen for right now. Light source is actually also a node, so if you just type in like sky sphere, oh, what am I doing here? There was actually a direct node, create reference to sky sphere right there, and it will give you this node right here. Same thing for the light source. So that's all you really have to do if you're using default UE4 sky and so forth. And what will happen is if we hit play, if we watch here, you can see the sun is moving awful quick. I got the speed set high just so you can see it. So you can see the sun is actually moving across the sky, and as soon as it gets to a certain point, you can see it's changing the shadows. You watch the shadows of the buildings right here. So it actually moves the shadows as the sun is going down in the sky. It's a really cool effect. Like I said, I did a whole video on actually doing this. But it's so cool to watch the shadow actually moving in your scene. It adds a really nice touch. Now you see it's going down, and the sky is changing color. It's getting that orangish color to it. You can see the clouds off in the distance if you can see it clear enough. But, they're kind of changing a little bit. Sun's going away, and it'll soon be nighttime. You see now it's turning a darker gray color. This is all doing it by that little small bit of script that was in the map blueprint. So we'll give it a couple minutes more, and we'll see it should turn dark. Excuse me. Oh, wait. Oh, and I picked up your loot, too. So now you're starting to see stars in the sky. And it's getting darker. It's a really nice effect. And you can adjust the speed of how quick this does it. In fact, I'll actually, I can go back into it and really adjust the speed and speed it up. You can still see clouds. You can still see the sky in different forms. But it gets darker and you start seeing clouds in the sky, or the stars in the sky and everything. But it is a cool effect. Definitely worth looking at that video. You have to scroll through a long list of videos to find it. But speed, I have set at 2.0. You can, just for the hell of it, I'll change it to 15. Compost, save, and play. So you can see it's moving a lot faster now. And then we're going in the nighttime. Shadows are moving quick. Now it's nighttime. You can actually make it to where it's even darker. I think I got my sky turned up a little bit too much. But I'm turning that back down to 2. Compile, save. But you get the idea. But I also showed in this video how to make the loot drop and everything else. So, back to our original project. So now we have background sound. So the map is dead. You can actually hear something going on. Another thing that really bugs me is, again, you select your town map or whatever, create folder, and I'm going to call this map shed or whatever you want to call it, and use this as a place to store all your map data. I'm going to leave my player start in there as well for now. And I'm not going to do this in this video, but like I was showing before, I could do another folder for buildings, and just go through and move stuff out of here. You see, this is terrible. All this stuff is just piled up in here, and when you're trying to find one particular thing, yes, there's multiple ways of doing it, but I can't stand seeing all of this stuff in the root folder. It bugs me to no end. So after I left clicked on the very top one that I want to move, I'm going to keep scrolling down until I get to the bottom where I see houses and stuff like that. And then I'll shift left click on the very bottom one of that. And it's more buildings. So we'll do the skylights as part of it right here. Shift left click. And it's going to select as much or all of the houses. Then I'm going to right click, move to buildings. So now all of those just got moved to a whole new folder, and I can minimize that folder and hide them. Same thing for props and vehicles and stuff like that. Thankfully, for the most part, the vehicles are at the bottom. Yes, you can, but not with UE4 in general. You actually have to use kinematic soup. Beta tester for it, and I haven't really done much with it. I'm going to delete all these vehicles. Just get rid of them completely. Kinematic soup is a method of allowing, right now it's set, I think, to 4, but 4 people can actively be working on the same map at the same time. They're going to be adding more functionality to it, where those same people can be doing blueprints and actually working on the project together at the same time, real time. To where, okay, you're working on maps, I'm working on blueprints, and somebody else is working on something else. We can split up our effort. Okay, I'm doing building placement. you're doing sidewalks. Somebody else is doing pedestrians and navigation and so forth. Another thing we can do if we want to add life to our map, there's a couple ways you can do this. I personally only like to see my pedestrians walking in certain areas. So, like, I only want them walking on the sidewalk and walking across crosswalks. But they can also walk on the inside of a certain area. You can select areas where you want people to be, or AI characters to be able to walk around. And you're going to want AI in your map. You may not, but if you do, what I'm going to do is select geometry and go to, volumes. And I'm going to go to nav mesh bounds. I'm going to drag one into the map, and you can see it drops a box there. So now I want that box to extend up and down and left and right and so forth. So I'm going to use the select and scale objects, and I'm going to scale it up to fit my entire block. This is nav mesh bounds. It is right there under volumes, nav mesh bounds. See, I'm going to move it over a little bit so that I can make it to where it contains the grass and the sidewalks, but not the streets. I'm going to go back to my scaling again and scale it this way. And I'm going to move it over just a hair. I don't know if you saw that it popped up real quick and said updating navigation right there, or building navigation. If you want to see that it's working correctly, hit the P key, and now you can see this green that is encasing the ground in the area of that nav mesh bounds. I wanted to go higher because this building right here has a second floor. So I'm going to go to this and scale it up. Now it's going to go through the ground a little bit, so I'm actually going to go ahead and raise it back up. You want it to extend into the ground just a hair. You don't have to worry about going too high. Even though there's green up here on the roof, if they can't get to it, they're not going to be able to go up there. So you need to look at this right here and see there's a break there. They cannot get in there. A problem that I've encountered with the Cindy Studios Polygon Town that still has not been fixed. So I'm going to hit P key again, turn off that visibility. Now I'm going to walk over to that house and show you what I'm talking about. There's an issue with the stairs there where you can't get through. You can't fit through right here and go up the stairs. There's a couple errors that are going to be problematic. So I'm going to actually go into my player character first, player_base, and look at my viewport. Yes, there's some collision issues, but the first one I'm going to correct is my capsule component on my player. You can see the capsule that's going around my player here. It's a little bit on the wide side, so I'm going to change it from 42 to 35. I can actually change it to 32 if I wanted to. And it thins it up a little bit. Your arms will go through stuff now, but that's fine. You see, there's a gap above the head. I'm not going to change that right now because if I move the capsule right now, then we're going to start walking in the air. And you'll have to do other things to fix that. So I'm going to compost and save that. And walk back over here again. That's going to help a little bit. But there's collision issues with the... Well, not just that. You can see now I can't get up the stairs because something else is blocking me. I can't jump. I can't get over it. There's just no way of getting up these stairs. And if I come up here in the house and I right click on the floor and I can select play from here, now I'm at the top of the stairs. Well, can I walk downstairs? No, I can't. There's still something blocking me from going through there. And there's a collision issue with something there. And I want to show, this is going to take a few minutes to actually do it, but I'm going to show a little tool that I use, which is also used later on for shooting. It's called a line trace. Okay? This is going to take a couple minutes to get set up, but it's worth it for many different reasons. So what I'll do here is, in my view change, this is you press V, use a flip-flop, and you're going to cycle between your cameras. What's going to happen is when I hit V the first time, I'm going to deactivate my follow camera. And then I'm going to activate my FPS camera, and then I'm choosing to use control rotation yaw. It's going to allow me to, whenever I'm in my player, I'm looking around this way, and that's cool. But when I go into first-person mode, now I want to use my mouse to look around, and it moves my whole entire body instead of just the camera only. So I can't turn around and look at my own face, in other words, with my camera, because I'm using control rotation yaw. But whenever I hit V again, it then deactivates the FPS camera, reactivates the follow camera, and turns off controller rotation yaw. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to create a couple little things here. First one is I'm going to create a new variable called use crosshair, and I'm going to go ahead and compile and save. That's going to allow it to be, right now it's false. Whenever I go into my first person view, I'm going to set use crosshair to true. Now, all I did was I drag and drop and select here, but you can also, if I want to hold down control, left click, drag and drop, it gives me a get. You get a get node. But if you hold down the alternate key, left click, drag and drop, it's going to give you a set version of that node. So at this point, I want it to not use the crosshair. There's a reason why I'm doing it this way. Okay? Okay, compile and save. And we're going to create a really cheap and easy crosshair just to get us started. Go to our widgets, go to right click, and go to user interface, widget blueprint, and crosshair underscore W. So I know that it's a widget file. Going to go into it. This is stupid simple. I'm going to grab an image, and I'm going to go to color and opacity, and I'm going to change this from where it's 1, I'm going to hit tab, 0 on green, 0 on blue, and that gives me a red crosshair. Okay. Now I'm going to take this red, and I'm going to left click, drag it over here, and drop it up there. Now I can quickly reuse that. Select OK. And before I center this, what I'm going to do here is my size, I'm going to change this to 50 by 5. Now I'm going to go ahead and anchor this to the center. This anchor button here, anchor to center. Now see, it's in the wrong spot. If I just zero this out, then it's going to be in the wrong place. If I look at it, it's not in the center of the screen. So I'm going to click this on my image again, and now since my size X is 50, I want my position X to be negative 25. And since my size Y is 5, I'm going to use negative 2.5. So half of each of those is going to equal that. So now if we look at it, it's dead square in the center of our screen. So what I want to do now is grab another image, select color and opacity, click on my red that's up here, click OK. Now I want this to be the same dimensions of this, but the opposite direction. So I want this to be 5, and I want this to be 50. Anchor it to the center. Change my position. What's happening, brother? Long time no see. We change this to negative 2.5 and negative 25, and that's going to put them dead square in the center of my screen. So still not going to work just yet. We're going to get there. So now I'm going to go to graph. I'm going to hit compile and save so we don't lose anything. And we're going to get rid of these two guys. As much as I do not like using it, we're going to use the event tick. We go to cast to player underscore base, which is my player character. And I am going to get player character Going to hit compost and save, make sure everything's good so far. And then from here, we're going to get use crosshair. We're now able to grab everything. Yeah, event tick is dangerous for a lot of things, but for something very, very simple, it's okay. You still want to avoid event tick, because what an event tick essentially means, for those who don't know, is if you're playing the game at 120 FPS, it's going to run this event one time every FPS. So if you've got 120 FPS frame rate, you're knocking this thing out at 120 times per second. So you always want to use this sparingly to keep your game running smoother. So it's okay for some things. Just, like I said, use it sparingly. So we've grabbed this, the use crosshair, from our player base. We actually have this right now usable in here because we've cast it to our player base and get a reference to our player character. Now use crosshair. But if it's false, we want to connect this into here and connect this into here. By the way, there's a lot of hotkey shortcuts. Hold down the B key and left click and you get a branch node. There's so many of those that it's hard to keep up with. But what we're going to do here is we've got this. We're asking, is the player using the crosshair? If the answer is false, then remove from parent. Essentially what that's going to do is it's going to get rid of this crosshair from your screen if you're not able to use the crosshair. A branch node is I'm asking you yes or no. That's what branch means. Is this condition true or false? Are we able to use this, yes or no? If the answer is no, then I want you to do this. If the answer is true, I want you to do something else. But if all I care about is what's happening whenever we don't, or the answer is false, then I don't have to put anything in here true at all. We can leave that empty. So this is going to essentially remove the crosshair from our player when we don't need it anymore. So I'll make sure we compile and save, and we can close that down. Now I'm going to come over here and I'm going to right click and I'm going to select custom event, so I can add a custom event. I'm going to call this crosshair on. So whenever the custom event is called, custom event is creating a sort of a function event. You can put all kind of stuff in here to happen, just like on begin play. On event begin play, I'm running startup stuff. This is a custom event that I'm calling to use at event begin play. And startup stuff, here is my startup stuff custom event. We're telling it to create the player HUD widget, get a reference to our player controller. We're going to add it to our viewport, set input mode to game only, and set show mouse cursor. It's going to run all these things whenever I call that. And we're going to do basically this right here, down here for our crosshair on. What we're going to do is drag off from there and type in create widget. And just by create W, it's going to give you the right one. Alright, so when I create my widget, the widget that I'm going to select class is going to be the crosshair widget. And owning player is typing get, and we're going to use get player controller. So when we tell it to turn the crosshair on, we're going to create this widget. We're going to drag off from return value and add to viewport. So now when we say turn on a crosshair, damn it, then we're creating a widget with a reference to our player controller, and we're adding it to our viewport. Yeah, I'm discussing the basics of setting up the little things. The key here is, for this video, is it's a spitball video. In other words, you got a question, ask it. You got a feature you're trying to figure out, ask it. And between us, we'll either figure it out or we'll get you pointed in the right direction to get it figured out. So that's the whole point of my Spitball videos. So now we're going to go back to our V for our view change. So we want to use this crosshair on event. It's not going to work at all right now. If we go in here and we're running around our town, we hit view to go into our first person view, we don't have our crosshair. Well, we want that crosshair to show up. So in our V, we hit it the first time, we're going into our first person view, we're turning use crosshair on with this variable. Now we want to call the crosshair on widget or custom event that we created. No, you go back to where you were. Drag out from right here, and now we're going to do crosshair, and you can see right there, that's our custom event that we created, and bang. So now, when we hit the V key the first time, it's going to deactivate our follow camera, it's going to activate our FPS camera, it's going to start using control rotation yaw, it's going to enable us to use the crosshair, and then we're going to run this custom event of crosshair on, which is going to then create the widget and add it to our viewport or our screen so we can see it. We hit V again, and that's what a flip-flop node is when you hit something one time, it does this. You hit it again, it does that. So you can create a cycle event by flip-flop. If you don't want to do it that way, this kind of, think of it as a toggle crouch or toggle prone position or something like that. Versus if you don't want a toggle, you just want, if you're pressing a key, you want to do something, but when you let go of the key, you want it to stop doing that, then you would do pressed for the action, then released for it to go back to what you were doing before. Hopefully that makes sense. So now, again, when we hit the V second time, it's going to deactivate our FPS camera, activate our follow camera, use control rotation yaw is disabled, so we go back to our normal thing, and it's setting use crosshair to false. So now if we go in here and hit play, hit the V key, we have a crosshair. I don't know if you guys can see it or not. It's a little red crosshair in the center of the screen that we just made. So this was all building up to the next point. Okay, we wanted to create the basics of what we're going to use for. I'm going to select all this stuff, and I'm going to hit the C key, and I'm going to call this my crosshair. So now we have it in this comment box. So now if I want to move it around, grab the top of that box and just move it wherever I want to. So that was moving up to actually being able to do what's called a line trace, which is going to be one of the methods of which you can use shooting. But we're going to use it as a tattletale tool to find broken collisions and things like that. So what I want to do here is right click, and I want this to work off my left mouse button. So left mouse, right there, left mouse button. So whenever I press my left mouse button, I want to perform an event. Okay, but we only want to do this when we're in our first person view. So we can actually use this variable system right here. We're using crosshair. So what I'll do here is I'll hold down the B key and left click, create that branch node. I'm going to connect that in here. So we're going to ask a question. What is the question? Are we using the crosshair? So drag that back over here. Are we using the crosshair? So if we are using the crosshair, then this is what we're going to do. If we're not using the crosshair, we're not going to do anything. If something like this comes up and your player's trying to do something and you don't want them to be able to do it, then from faults you can do like a sound that says meh or whatever that says no, you can't do it, or screw you, or whatever you want. But so basically we're asking a question, are we using the crosshair? And if the answer is true, then we're going to perform an action. We are going to line trace by channel. This is one of the many, but we're going to do line trace by channel. I'm probably going to screw this up because dyslexia and everything else, but now we need a start position and an end position. Where do we want this to come from, and where do we want this to end? Well, let's actually use the FPS camera, because that's sitting right there in front of our face. And we're going to be in that view anyway. So I'm going to get a reference to my FPS camera, get a left click and drag it right into the project. Okay? And what I'll do here is I'm going to get world location, so we know where in the world that crosshair or that camera position is, and I'm going to plug this into my start location. Very easy, right? Here's where the fun begins. We have to use some math. I don't like math. In fact, I'm hitting the hard stuff tonight. While I was out, I picked up some really heavy hitting hard stuff. We have chocolate milk. Ah, good stuff. You got ulcers and all kind of issues like I do, then chocolate milk is awesome. I don't need the sugar this time of night, though. But anyway. Yeah, I hate math too, but we're going to have to do it. So I'm going to grab from my FPS camera, and I'm going to get forward vector. Okay. So I got my forward vector. Forward vector is where we're going, what we're leaning towards, what we're projecting our face towards, or whatever. It's our forward vector, our forward location, our forward momentum, or whatever. Your forward, what it is and what it'd be like, right? So forward vector. So what we're going to have to do is I'm going to drag off from here, and I'm going to type in float. So we want to do yellow right here means that it's a vector. Float is a variable that is a number with a decimal point and stuff after it. Integer is a whole number without decimals. But what we're going to do is we're going to do a vector times float. Okay. What we're going to use this for is this is the range of our laser beam we're going to shoot here in just a second. So, a couple ways we can do this. We can actually make it a variable. We can drag out from here and select promote to variable, or we can actually create a new variable by selecting here, or we can just put a damn number in here. I'm going to select it at 1,000. I'm going to change this later, but it's going to give us a starting point, okay? It's only going to go 1,000 units, which is not very far. But I'll show you in just a minute here. So now we're also going to take from our world location, drag off from here, and I'm going to hit shift so I can get the plus key. No, I still have the water. I got a glass of water right here next to me as well. So we're going to do vector plus vector, and I'm going to plug in this to here. And you can see it changes it to where it's a little bit shorter. So we're adding our world location to our forward vector multiplied by 1,000, and we plug that in, and that is the end of our line. This is poof where we are. Now, what I want to select here is draw debug type. I'm going to select here, and I'm going to select for duration. And if I hit that arrow, draw time is 5 seconds. That's going to be fine for right now. You can change it to 1 or 120 or whatever you want, but I'm going to leave it at 5. So that's 5 seconds. So I'm going to compile and save. So if we hit play, nothing. I can left click all day long. We don't have anything. Hit V to go into my mode. I can now left click, and it draws a line from the center of my screen to where my crosshair is pointing 1,000 away. So you can see it'll travel through the air. I don't know if you can see it or not. But it'll only travel 1,000. So if I want that to go farther, then I can just change this number right here from 1,000 to 10,000. So we'll do compile and save, and then go back and we'll see. And we're going to add some functionality to this that's going to be, as you can see, it's projecting out. Now it is red going all the way to the to where it hits. After it hits something, it turns green. I don't know if you guys can see that or not. It's a really thin line, but it goes from red to green whenever it hits an object that has collisions to it. That's good. That's what we want. But what we need to do is know what we just hit. So I'm going to go over here to the on hit, drag off from there, and break hit results. And now this beautiful, lovely, very highly useful thing right here has all this crap there. Mwah, love it. We got hit actor. So what we're going to do here is we're going to drag off from this, and we are going to print strings, or you can print text. Either one will work. So I'm going to drag that off of here. Now, I'm going to drag off from hit actor and connect it to here. And you can see this is blue, but that's pink. It's a text. So I can actually go from hit actor to here. It's not going to work. That sucks. What are we going to do? The colors don't match up. But I want to know what I just hit. So if I drag out from hit actor, I can type in to text, and it will connect that to that, and it will put that information now to where instead of it saying hello, then it's now going to tell me the actor that I just hit. So now go back into our map, hit V, and if I aim at the sewer cap, upper left hand corner, it tells me what the prop name is. Prop manhole 01 1918. If I can come over here, I can hit that. I can see that's road patch. See, that's going to be sidewalk straight. Well, if you guys can see it, it's in the top left-hand corner of the screen. The rubbish bin, rubbish bin. You can see it turns green whenever it hit there, but the line continues on. So the reason why we did this is because we were having a problem with getting up and down these stairs. So if I hit V and I shoot around here, door frame, garage wall, exterior wall, wherever we're hitting, it's going to report back with what it is we're hitting. But that's not fixing where I'm actually getting stuck. So again, what I'll do here is I'll come up to the top of the stairs, I'm going to right click on the floor up here and play from here. So now I'm playing, I'm up here, I'm going to hit V, and I'm going to shoot down the stairs into your floor, ground floor wall. You can use this to kind of detect issues. Prop art. I know what the issue is, but it's not reporting back with this one. There's actually a collision issue right along in here on one of these that projects through. And it projected through, and it was actually hitting our character's head. And I've found it a dozen times before. And I'm not going to find it now because I'm trying to. But to kind of give an idea of what I'm talking about here with the broken collisions. Go into our first person view. We shoot this house. The collision's been fixed on this one. This did have a bad collision for a long time. They finally fixed it in one of the updates. This building here, this wall section, you couldn't get close enough to the door because what was happening is the collision went from this wall straight across. Same thing with this one. You couldn't walk in here because the collision went directly across there. So these collisions have been fixed. So, and I showed Cindy Studios how to do this. The door is closed, can't get in. You see there's a collision issue where our feet are falling through the ground. The sill right there for the door. So you can use stuff like that to find issues with collisions. But you can also use that line trace to actually do your shooting as well. Since, actually, let's go back and play again. You can see on the bottom right hand corner of the screen there's a little red bar. That's your health bar. I went ahead and put a health bar in here. Okay. What if we wanted to use this to, instead of reporting back what we're actually shooting, we can delete that. We can do hit actor. Now here's a fun part of this, hit bone name. You can actually go through by using the hit bone name and report back. And let's actually go to a test map. Let's go ahead and save all, save selected. I'm going to make a test map. Something that I always do because I always need test maps for testing out different content and features and so forth. I'm going to go to File, New Level. It's the very first option. I'm going to select VR Basic. And then I'm going to select the ball. You can leave these in here if you want to. I'm going to get rid of them just because I want open space. And I'm going to go ahead and move my player, get him back here in the corner. I'm going to go ahead and select my game mode, override to third person game mode, hit play, and now we can walk around and we have a test map for working on things. We'll do save all, save selected, make sure we're in a correct maps folder. We're going to call this our test map. There we go. Then I'm going to hit save all again, and it's going to save the build data. Why I couldn't do that the first time, I don't know. But we now have a test map. We can test things out. Go into first person mode, and bang, we can shoot our laser beams out. See? Beautiful. And they'll just slowly go away after 5 seconds. Done. So let's make a target dummy. We go to my blueprints folder for my character, and I'm going to right click and duplicate. And I'm going to call this target underscore dummy underscore BP. So there's my target dummy blueprint. I'm actually going to close my player. And in here, get all this stuff right here. We don't need it. Get rid of it. Nothing. And we don't need follow camera. Delete. Now, what did you just delete? Alright, go away. Follow camera. Delete. Camera boom. Delete. FPS camera. Delete. The rest, we keep. Compile. Save. Viewport. Delightful. Let's change our character. Go mesh. And we'll use the shopkeeper. He's our new target dummy. Our event graph. Okay. We're not going to do anything just yet. I'm going to show you what's going to be a problem and how easy it is to fix that problem. We drop our guy in here. Let's turn him around. So if we come in here and hit play, we've got our dude. He's just doing the same animations as stuff. Oh, shit. Sorry. Yeah, I still have keys bound. All I did with our target dummy here was I deleted everything in here, and I deleted the cameras and the camera boom and just left the meshed arrow, stuff like that. Page up and page down was set up for me to just scroll through my different scenes on Streamlabs. It's okay. That's the only changes I made to create this guy as our target dummy. If I shoot him, the line stayed red going all the way through him. It's not actually hitting anything. It's not hitting him. The laser beam is that we're using for our testing is not connecting with him. So to fix that, you go back into your target dummy. Make sure you select your mesh. Scroll down to collision. Under collision presets, instead of character mesh, use block all dynamic. Hit compost and save, and we hit play. Now if we come back over here and we shoot him, it turns green after it hits him. So we can now connect with this guy. Alright, so here's some more free content that you can get that will help with shooting and stuff like that later on, but also with death and dying. It's going to be a pain in the ass to retarget everything. We want to have it because we want death animations and stuff like that. So what I'm going to do is go back to this stuff, and this is free. You can find it in the marketplace. If you go to the marketplace and alright, move faster. You click on free, and Epic Games are permanently free collection. And there's some cool shit in here too. Dynamic grass system is free. At that. Free furniture pack. Ooh, cool. That actually, those look good. Mocap basics, free. Worth getting. I think I got all these anyway. I don't have all of them. I don't have the furniture pack. If I wasn't doing Cindy Studios assets, I would probably use that in this series. FPS weapons bundle. If you want free guns, there you go. I haven't used them yet. I wasn't crazy about them, but well. Next page, there's some cool particles in here too. But yeah, that one's fun to play with. The fireworks. So yeah, it's not in here. So go back in here to free and Epic Games content. A lot of free stuff in here as well. Don't bother with the Paragon crap. Trust me. More headaches than they're worth. I could have just used the search feature and found this a lot faster, but just want to show you there's a lot of free content in here. Animation starter pack right here. This is going to be a godsend if you're trying to create a shooting game. Why I just did that, I don't know. The animation starter pack, you can click on it, and it comes in right here. And it's going to give you pistol animations, rifle, shotgun, prone. It's going to give you a bunch of different good usable animations. So you just hit add to project and select a project. This one's just called Spitball. Way too many projects. There we go. And add to project. And we're done. So now what it's done is added in all these animations. But since we've already retargeted all our stuff to work, well, now we've got this whole thing here. We're going to have to do the same thing we did before. So bear with me on this one. We're just going to go to, click on that, open up the mannequin in here, and the mesh folder. We need to double click on the UE4 mannequin skeleton here, select rig, which is going to be select humanoid rig. We're going to grab and this is part of what you missed earlier also, was we're going to left click on the upper arm. So just left click anywhere on the upper arm, and then we're going to rotate it up by 50. We're going to do that for both arms. We're going to take the lower arm, which is the forearm. Yeah, we're making a T-pose for it. We're going to rotate it back by 30. And we're going to rotate it down by 10. Do that for the other one. We're going to go back 30, and down 10. Then we're going to do the hand. We're going to raise the hand up by 10. This hand up by 10. And now that we've got them in a T-pose, we're going to click Modify a Pose, Use Current Pose, and Save. Okay. Now, we're going to go ahead and do Save All. Now we're capable of doing the retargeting. We've already got the animations folder in our characters. And this one was unarmed. We probably should have put this in a separate folder, but we're going to go ahead and create a new folder here, and we're going to call this Armed. And we're going to go into it, make sure it's there, and do another one that's going to be a new folder called Death. Because death animations are not going to follow. So now I'm going to go back up here to my animation starter pack. This has got all your blend space and all that cool stuff in here. Now I'm going to left click on that. I'm going to hit F2 like I'm going to rename it. I'm going to hit Control C and then click off of it. Now I'm going to right click on it, retarget, select my polygon. I'm going to replace, I'm going to hit Control V. And I'm going to change this to armed underscore ABP. Going to hit change. Going to go to my characters folder, animations folder, and armed. Select OK. And now I'm going to go ahead and hit retarget. I'm not going to use these just yet. Did all that just so I can get the death animations. But at least we now have an armed animation blueprint system that if we wanted to, we can give it to our mesh. And let's go to our viewport. And with our mesh selected, we can change it from unarmed animation blueprint to armed animation blueprint. And now he's holding the gun at the hip. There we go. So if we hit play, he's doing that, but we want to kill his ass. We're going to start doing damage early on here. No, we say you got to learn how to love before you can learn how to kill, but so we want to knock this guy the hell out. We want to kill him. So the next thing I actually want to do is go back to minimize that. In here we have death animations, and I'm just going to take one for now, and I'm going to right click on it, and I'm going to select retarget animation assets, and actually let's do like I did before, because I'm going to rename this one. So I'm going to hit F2, Control C, and then I'll right click, duplicate, we'll do polygon, replace that with death only, which we'll do underscore 01. And we're going to change, go to our characters, animations, death, OK, and retarget. So now we have a death animation for our guy. Another thing I'm going to do really quickly is I'm going to hit pause. I'm going to fast forward all the way to the very end where he's done doing his death animations, and I'm going to create asset. Create animation. Current pose. We're going to go to our animations folder here, death, and call this just dead underscore 01. There's nothing. There's no frames. It's just there. He's just in that pose. Then I'm going to hit save and close it. Now there's so many different ways that we can go about killing something, making them do the death animation, and so forth. But let's actually start doing damage first. There's also things you can do in here with these animations that aren't in the regular animation blueprint. Hit react. So whenever you're shooting them, they'll get knocked back. But we're not going to do that yet. Start simple and start working towards things. We just want this target dummy there so we can shoot him and kill him. Now, what we can do here is, since he's using a different animation blueprint than we are, go to our armed animation blueprint. If we open it up, not a hell of a lot there, but they did not do a very good job of making it look very neat, so it looks like some horrible spaghetti. That looks terrible. Absolutely terrible. I mean, you can sit here and take some time to clean it up. I mean, seriously, I couldn't see, even though nobody else normally sees the inside of your animation blueprints. If you're coming back later to try to fix something, you don't want to have to dive through bad spaghetti. So try to be a little bit neater as you're progressing along. I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time doing this cleanup right now. Got all this stuff up here. There's actually a function that's built into UE4. And you see this? This is cast to UE4 character. So some of this stuff is not going to work. We're going to have to fix it. You can actually select all this stuff right here. Right click, and there was actually alignment, align center. You can actually use that, and it will line up your blueprint, your nodes for you. Let's actually just save that for now. The problem is we got cast to UE4 ASP character. It's referring to a character that we're not using, a blueprint that we're not using at all. Can jump is different. We're not using that same system. We're not worried about fixing this right now, making it work. We're not worried about our AI jumping or anything like that right now. This isn't what... Would you move? Thank you. Isn't what we're trying to do here. So you see we've got a sequence node here. I don't want it there. I want another sequence node. This is something we're going to have to fix later on. We're not actually going to be using this guy. We don't need any of that part right now at all. We're not going to delete it because we're still going to use it. We're just going to modify it. But anywhere in here, see, this is cast to character. This is referring to the player character. And not just a player character, but any character. So right here, I'm going to run a sequence. If I learned how to spell. So a sequence node, you can plug in inline, and then you can branch it off here and run multiple things at that point. So from here, what I'm going to do is temporary functionality. We're going to be doing this for our, don't need that open, don't need that open, we need you. We're going to be doing this for a target dummy. But we can do this for cast to character. But for now, we're going to do it off the target dummy. We'll have to duplicate it later. But we're going to cast to target dummy BP. So what we're going to do here is only going to affect this guy. We already have a try get pawn owner, so I'm going to connect that to my node here for cast to target dummy. And we're going to apply a condition here. We're going to open up this guy, and we're going to use a new variable, is dead. Compile and save. We already have health. He's got 100 health right there. So we'll get to the health part in just a minute. But we're going to say is dead. We're going to go back to our animation blueprint. Since we're here, we're going to get is dead. So if our dummy is dead, we want to perform a certain action. So what we're going to do here is add a new variable inside the animation blueprint of dead. So with that, we're going to alternate left click, drag it in, and we're going to put that in here, but we're going to put a branch node in. Whatever. I don't care if you work or not. Reason why it's not working and giving issues back and forth is the animation starter pack is using bound keys instead of the other thing. It's neither here nor there. It's not going to matter to anything here. So we're going to ask the question, is we dead? Is he dead? And if the answer is true, we're also going to do this Control C and Control V, so we have two of these. So if he is dead, then If is dead is true, then dead is true. If not, then dead is not true. So we're going to compile and save. Now that's in the event graph, and that's fine. This is where we wanted. We're going to double click on the anim graph. Our locomotion is what we're going to do. And this is our final animation pose and locomotion. So we go into this. Looks a little complicated, but it are not. What we're going to do is we're going to branch off from idle. Because that's where we want this death to happen from. So we're going to drag off from idle. We're going to add a state. And D-Y-I-N-G. How do you spell dying? I'm spelling this wrong. I know I am. So when we are dying, we're going to perform an animation. What is the animation? Well, let's actually just go into our animations and select Death 01. Go back into our animation blueprint. So we know that it's there. Death 01. We're going to drag that in here, drop it in, connect the man to the man, and we're going to play the death animation when we is dead. Okay. And then at that point, we need to go back to our locomotion. And we have this little double arrow thing right here. what is going to allow us to go from our idle animation to our dying animation. So, plug that in here. So we is dead. If we is dead, we can enter that transition. So, to go from idle to our dying animation, we need to be dead. Then we're going to go ahead and drag out from here, and we're going to add another state. We're going to call this dead. And we're going to move around a little bit so we got that. So we go into our dead state here, and we're going to try and bring in our animation that we created called dead. And that's it there. Go back to locomotion. To go from our dying animation to our dead animation, we are going to do basically the same thing. Well, not actually the same thing. We are going to type in time remaining ratio death 0, 1. So what we're doing is how much time is left from us doing this animation. And that's a float. We're going to do a float. Oh god. Less than 0.1. If it's less than 0.1 of a second left in that animation, then we can enter the transition of being dead. We're going to go back to our locomotion, and then we can drag from dead back to here, back to our idle. And then how can we go from being dead back to idling again? We just take our dead, drop it in here. We get is dead, and then we're going to type in not B, N-O-T-B. So for not Boolean. So if we're not dead, we now go back in that right there. Okay, I hope that was easy enough to follow. I was kind of just moving along there. So to go from the idle animation to our dying animation, we need to be dead. To go from our dying animation to our death animation state, we need to have finished doing this animation, and then we can be dead. And then if we want to stop being dead to get back to being alive again, then we have to not be dead anymore. We're not dead. So I hope that makes sense. So all we've done is just cast to our target dummy. We've gotten the variable is dead, and ask the question. If dead is true, then set dead to true. And then if it's not, then set it to false. So it's going to check this variable and then go from there. So we close our animation blueprint. Thank you. And go back in here. We have a health variable. Okay. How are we going to know that we're getting damage? Well, we have to start doing damage first. I know there's a lot of back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. So just ask questions if you're not tracking here. So our character, our player, remember our line trace we did to actually fire the line trace out. We got all this hit stuff right here. So we can do blocking hit, initial hit. Well, what we're actually going to do is hit actor. And we're going to do something with that. So what we're going to do here is drag off from the line trace by channel, and we're going to apply damage. This is going to apply direct damage to the target that we're hitting. So get hit actor, come up to right here to damaged actor. You've got event instigator and damage causer. I'm not going to really go into those right now. Those are going to be cool later down the line when you're wanting to know that you were killed by Beefalo Bart using an AK-47. So you can project that information up there by using the instigator, which was me, and the damage causer was, in this case, the left mouse button, but whatever weapon we were using. If we have a reference to our weapon up here, we can plug that into the damage causer, the instigator. I'm sorry, use those two for doing that. What we're going to do though is we're going to change our base damage to 25. We got 100 health, so that means we're going to have to shoot him 4 times. So compile and save. We're going to apply damage by shooting this. Okay. We just blanket applying 25 damage to anything that we hit. Now, our target dummy has 100 health. So if we go in here right now and go to our first person view, see we hit them 4 times, 5 times, we can shoot them all day long because we haven't set a condition to what happens after we shoot. And you know me, by now I can't stand not having sound, so I'm going to add sound really quickly. So I've already got some sound that I pre-made and use all the time. So I'm going to do pistol, rifle, shotgun, and snipper. Just going to drag those in here. Going to hit save all. Again, what we're going to do here is we're going to create sound attenuation. This is quick. Gunshots. Go in here, and I'm going to use 1200 to 3600. That's fine. What the attenuation does is it sets a radius of how far away you can hear the sound. If you're on the other side of the map, you don't want to hear somebody shooting or eating food or chopping a tree or whatever else that they're 10 miles away and a noise that you wouldn't normally hear anyway. So that's why you set up an attenuation. So we're going to do that, or we're going to do the rifle sound here. So I'm going to right click, create cue. We'll leave it as riffle cue. I know it's rifle, but I call it riffle to annoy people. And we don't care if it loops. We don't want it to loop. So we're just going to do attenuation, gunshot, save, close. Now, also at the same time that we're doing this, we're going to drag this over here just to make a little bit of room. After we fire off our line trace, we're going to play sound at location. And the sound, we're going to use rifle cue. Now, if you want to play a sound like, the sound of the bullet hitting something, you can also use this right here, your location or impact point, and plug that in there, and it will play a sound at the location of where your bullet hit. So if you want hit sounds of where your bullets are hitting, that's how you would do it. I actually wanted to actually use the same world location of where I'm firing from, so I'm just going to drag that across to here. So now it's going to play the shooting sound right there next to me where I am shooting. And if you're 10 miles away from me, you're not going to hear it because I have the attenuation already built into that sound cue. So if we go back in here, compose and save, we apply, nothing happens, we hit V. Fire as fast as we can click. So now we need to kill him. So with our target dummy, there's nothing in our event graph. So the first thing we're going to do is event, we need an event to happen, any damage. God, I love this node. So anytime we take damage, we're going to get our reference to our health. So get, we get a get. Health is always replicated, by the way. We are going to drag off from our health, and we are going to hit minus, so it'll be float minus float. We're going to drag from the damage here to here. So whatever damage that we just received, we're going to subtract that from our health. Now, what we're going to have to do is set up some way of knowing that we're out of health. So if this number is now, we type in float. If it is less than or equal to 0, then we want to, well, we just created a question, so now we have to do this. Plug this into here so our executables are connected. We have now asked, is our health equal to or less than 0? If it is yes, then we are going to set is dead to true. False, we don't care. So event any damage. Now, if you're also doing like the hit reaction, you could actually tell it to create another variable and set it up in your animation blueprint, create a hit reaction, and do it that way. It's going to replicate a lot easier if it's in the animation blueprint. Same thing with montages, but 422.3 seems to be having problems with montages. So I'm not going to cover those at all. So if our health is equal to or less than 0, then set is dead to true. So what happens now if you come over here and why are you not doing? Event any damage, target dummy PP. If health is equal to or less than 0, we are subtracting the damage from our health, getting this. So, I like when things break. That sounds terrible, right? You never like when things break. So if something breaks, then let's look at the very end, and we're going to print text. Okay. Put whatever in here. I'm working. Whatever. I'm working. So after it completes this, it will receive damage. It's going to do all this stuff, and if it gets to this point, it's going to print on my screen saying I'm working. It's good that it broke, because I'd rather you learn. See, I'm shooting the hell out of them, and nothing's happening. It's registering there. So where is it broken? So let's take this, and I just did control and clicked on the line. So let's actually see if we're taking damage. And we'll change this to say, no, asshole. Ouch, shit, that hurt. And I'm just going to take this, plug it in here, and plug it in here. See if we're actually receiving any damage. Damaged actor is hit actor. Yeah, that should be fine. So what we want to do is, ouch, shit, that hurt. Ouch, shit, that hurt. So we know we're hitting him. So now that we know that at this point, before this branch, it is working. So that's no problem. So now, if it's false, okay, let's actually drag this over just a little bit. Set is dead to true. Should be false by default. Okay, so we'll drag off of here and we'll print text. And right now, we'll just type in you didn't kill me butthole. This is just development stuff. It is not something the players would ever normally see. So this print text is your damn friend. It will help you find you didn't kill me butthole. You didn't kill me butthole. So it's not removing the damage for some reason. So if it does actually set the health, it's less than or equal to 0. Where am I going wrong here? I've only done this a damn 100 times. Health. We're subtracting the damage. Subtract. Oh, well, let's see here. Being dyslexic, I screw things up from time to time. So to find this, we need to establish that we're taking the damage. We're subtracting our health. Our current health is this. We're subtracting the amount of damage. And it's because I am stupid. I know I need that branch node still there. We need to set our health to this number and not have that there. So, yeah, I know what I did now. I forgot a step. So event any damage, we take the damage and we subtract the damage from our health and set our health to this new variable. And then what we're going to do is check there to see if our health is less than or equal to 0. And if it is, there's our question. We're asking the question here. Is our health less than or equal to 0? Yeah, this is one of these, it's 3 o'clock in the morning and I'm forgetting shit. So, now, this is what our current health value is. We're asking, is it now at this point? If it is true, then we want to set is dead to true. So now this will kill our character. Our target will die. Wow, I can't believe I forgot that one little tiny step. So come over here and there we go. He's dead. Just that one little slip up. He's dead. Get up. Get up, you lazy bastard. Man down. Man down. Get back to work. You're supposed to be at the shop. So, let's do a cheesy respawn on the dude here. Just to get him back up so we can kill him again. So after this point, we're going to then run a delay. Delays are lovely. I love delays. I've never said that before in my entire life. No one likes being delayed. But the delay node is a way of setting up a timer. So we're going to wait for 5 seconds. So we'll put 5 in our duration. Just for giggles, so you can learn how to do this. I'm going to drag off for my duration, and I'm going to get random... Oh, shit, you don't like that. Random float. I want to get a random float in range. So instead of 5 seconds, we're going to let it pick between 2 seconds and 5 seconds. So anytime between 2 seconds and 5 seconds, it will then carry out the actions that we're going to do here, which all we're going to do is set our health back to 100, and we're going to set is dead to false. So he's no longer dead, and he'll just spring back up to his feet. But if you're trying to like set up a random delay, then you can do the random float in range. And so now you put whatever minimum value and maximum value you want. So between 2 and 5 seconds, he's going to spring back to life again. So we can actually come in here. Oh, there's an asshole. We got to kill him. He's dead. And poof, he's right back alive again. So can I kill you again? Yeah, we can keep killing your ass. And then, poof, he'll pop right back up again and we can kill him again. Cool stuff. Alright, so we're going to close this off for right now. Our target dummy. He's just standing there doing nothing. Do we want him to walk? Let's make him walk. Here's another thing. My character... player stats, okay? Let's take the use crosshair, and under category, instead of default, we'll just say misc for miscellaneous. We'll take is dead. Now we'll drop down box misc. Now we can hide these things and clean up our blueprint so it looks neater. Hey, pretty. So again, also with this, I can drag and select everything, hit the C key, and damage. But since it's damage related, let's go back up here to our comment color and use our red color from before. So now we can see, bam, that's bright ass red. No matter where we are and how far we're out, we zoom. Yep, got to have our nav mesh bounds. So our map will need that, but we're not there yet. We can put the nav mesh bounds in now. This is a nice small map. Let's go to volumes, nav mesh bounds. I'm going to go to the details panel and I'm going to hit 0, 0, and 0. And then I'm going to scale this up by 10, by 10. No, that's good enough. And 10 by 10, we'll fill this. Hit P. Got all that green. Everything's delightful. And now we have that. Let's go ahead and hit Save All. Save Selected. Go back into our target dummy. Now, we want to create a new variable. Is moving. And then I'm going to go ahead and put that in my category of miscellaneous. So again, if you don't want to see all these, you can minimize them. We're going to use that one variable from here, though. So we want to make our dude just kind of walk around aimlessly. This is the bare bones simplest way of just getting random movement. So event tick. We're going to use the event tick. Oh no, not the event tick. But what we're going to do is we're going to ask that question. We're asking a question. What is the question that we're trying to find out? Is we moving? So we're asking, are you moving? If the answer is yes, we don't give a shit. If it's no, we want to make you move. So AI move 2. We just want a generic AI move 2. Pawn. I'm going to drag out from there. Type in self. Get it. So it'll say give a reference to self. And that's no problem. The destination. Where are you moving to? Well, we don't care. So we're going to get random point and either reachable or navigatable. And we're going to use navigatable radius. So where are you moving to? Somewhere random with inside there. But let's go ahead and get a reference to our mesh. And we are going to get actor, get world location. Not rotation, you dumbass. Get world location. So this is where you're starting from. That's your origin. And how far are you going to look for that? Well, let's go ahead and put 5,000. So it's going to work with a radius of 5,000. Now, from here, we're going to set is moving to true because we are moving at this point. Now, on success, what we want to do here is we'll Control C and Control V, so we'll put that in here. On success and on failure, we want you to set is moving to false. So when you're done doing what you're doing right here, moving to this new location, you're no longer moving. So there you go. But I don't want to put that there yet. I want to put in a delay. So it adds kind of a variable of weirdness to it and realisticness to it. We're going to connect both of those to the delay. Then we could put our is moving is false back in there behind that. And like we did before, for our duration, random float in range. And we want him to wait between 5 seconds and 10 seconds and then start moving again. So now we hit play. He doesn't have a gun in his hands, but he's going to sit there and wait until his time's up, and then he'll move to the next point. There we go. So he'll just randomly kind of roam around and do his thing until we interrupt him by doing that. But guess what, though? Let's see if the timer runs out. No, come on. Want to be dead. And then what'll happen is it's not checking that state. So let's let him start moving again and interrupt him 1, 2, 3 times. So if he starts moving again, we're going to pop his ass. Did we break you? Are you going to start moving again? There we go. Shit. I didn't hit him before he got there. So hopefully we interrupt him. What we want to happen is, no, we didn't, is we want him to stop moving. Let me change this to 10,000. Just so we know he's going to wander all over the damn place. And we're going to see if we can shoot him while he's standing still 3 times. And then once he starts moving again, we want to pop him again. And I shot him in his elbow. And it went right through him. So once he starts moving again, I want to try to pop his ass and see if we can get him to move while he's dead. Because what will happen sometimes is it's not going to stop him from moving just because he's dead. You're not going to fail because I want you to fail. Put that delay on really long, didn't I? 5 to 10 seconds. You know, I ain't got all night to wait on your ass. Move. Well, screw you. We'll just we'll show the functionality to it. So, that's all cool and everything. But on our damage system right here, what we can do is all the stuff right here, when we set is dead to true, we can add some more functionality. Since we're just using him as a target dummy and we're wanting to just spring back up again, let's just move this stuff over a little bit, get some room. And we'll come in here and get a reference to our character movement. We want to stop our dude from moving completely. So what we'll do is drag out from a character movement, set movement mode. So at this point, whenever they are dead, we're going to set our movement mode. It defaults to none, which is good. That's what we want. So there's no chance now that once they're dead, they can move. And that's what we definitely need to make sure we have, is we can't let them move at all. So let's do the same thing, get our character movement. We could copy and paste, but it doesn't matter. And we're going to set movement mode. This time we're going to set it to walking. That's the second option down. So now, whenever they're not dead, they will then be able to start walking again. So there's no chance that they're going to start floating around. And sometimes you'll see when people set up simple AI like this, whenever they get killed, they'll just skate around. So now, no matter what, 1, 2, 3, yes, I missed one shot. Standing right next to the dumbass, and I still missed. I didn't say I was great at playing games. So, alright, he's dead. He won't be able to move at all until he's no longer dead. But then he'll be able to move again. Now, one last thing, and we're at almost 2 hours, and you guys ain't asking questions. You're chatting every so often, but you're not asking how to create something. Let's add pawn sensing. A very simple way of, hey, I see you, and now I'm going to kick your ass, or I'm going to come see you, and I'm going to do something. We're going to add a component, and we're going to type in pawn sensing. Going to hit compost and save, and then we look at our viewport, select pawn sensing, and now we got this huge freaking thing here. Well, that's a good thing about these and being able to come back and watch them later. I want to change the peripheral vision angle to 60. So we now have a 60-degree cone in front of our dude, the green cone here. At least you guys can build this along. Even if you don't have the Cindy Studios assets, you can still use these same things for pretty much anything character-wise. So that green cone now is our perception cone. Sight radius of 5,000, we can increase that or leave it where it is. Hearing threshold, you can actually create sound. Like whenever we're shooting, we can actually, instead of just doing pawn sensing, we can add a component of pawn noise emitter or whatever. We can do something to actually create noise. But let's actually go ahead here and Very simple. We'll take this pawn sensing and we're going to right click on it and add event on see pawn, or if you want to, if they hear a noise, you can on hear noise. So if you're shooting, they hear the gunshot, they can turn around, hey, I heard that, and they can come after you or do whatever you want them to do. But we're going to do this on see pawn. So when they see us, we want them to do something. We want them to turn and come at us. All right? So who? Well, we want it just to be us. So cast to player underscore base, which is my player character. Okay. On pawn, who are we looking for? We're looking for our player. And then once we see that player, we're going to drag off from here and AI and move to location or actor. We can use this other one. And we use this one right here, AI move to. We can use that as well. So let's try using that one and see what happens. AI move to. And in this case, we have, let's get a reference to self. Just type in self and use get a reference to self. Who are we looking for? Our target actor. That's what we're looking for. Acceptable radius, I'm going to change this to 50. Yeah, you're just creating a sound. With that, when you're creating your blueprint, you can actually add in, let's see here, right click. From pawn sensing, you can drag out you can set them to be deaf and set to hear noises, yes or no. But with that, you can do pawn sensing, right click, add event on hear noise. And then from that, you look for the location or the instigator, the volume, and that kind of stuff. Well, whenever you're doing, well, we'll leave this one in here and we'll finish this, and then we'll make sure it's working, and then we'll come back and we'll change the view of how much the cone angle is for them to see us, and then we'll make a noise when we fire our gun, or you can make it do footsteps as well. So let's get this part working. So when we see the player, we want them to come to the player. So I'm sure I'm missing out on something right here. On success, on fail. Yeah. One thing I will put in here is set is moving to true on the top executable pin, so we know that we are moving. On success, we could have them beat the hell out of us. On fail, we can just set them to set as moving to false. So if they fail to get to us, they'll just go back to walking again. But if they do succeed in getting to us, I set the acceptable radius to 50, because if it's 5, they got to be almost inside of us. So we hit that, and he saw us, so he immediately started coming to us. So get out my damn face. So now he's back up again. He can't see us. Oh shit! Now he sees us and he's coming after us. He'll chase us. Okay, he got to us. Now what is he gonna do? Well, he still sees us. Well, I can run behind him and I can kind of spoof him a little bit. He can't see me now, so he'll go back to his idle state of well, I'm not, and we'll see. There we go. He'll start moving again. So what if we make noise? So open up our player character as well. Blueprints, player base. So we're playing a sound, but that doesn't mean that they actually hear us. So how can we create noise? Make noise. Pawn make noise. So pawn make noise, and location. We just fired a gunshot, so we are the one that is doing that. So we're going to get my location from my regular noise location from my pawn, or my location. Connect that in there. Loudness. We'll do full loudness. Use noisemaker location, noisemaker. If you wanted to say, okay, the gunshot made the noise, or whatever else, you can use that. Or this person made that noise, or whatever else. Pawn make noise. It's automatically got reference itself. So let's just see what this does. And we're going to change the pawn sensing. We're going to change that from 60-degree cone to 30-degree cone. So you've got to be looking well more towards us. So let's see what happens here if we can get out of his view. Okay, he made it. Now we got around him. Hit V. We made a noise. So let's actually see if we can get this to work. On hear noise. What I'm going to do here is move that to there, and I'm going to grab all this. Control C and Control V, and plug that in here, and instigator, and plug that into there, and see if that works. Never done it, never tried, so we'll see if it works. Alright, get to me. Now I'm going to run past you so I can spoof you. Now I'm going to make a noise. He saw me, so. Alright, so he's not hearing me. I could stop on overlap. I could have put that in there. Whatever. On hear noise, pawn sensing, hearing threshold, sight radius. Let's move that to 5,000. Line of sight hearing threshold and hearing threshold. Max distance at which make noise, loudness 1 can be heard. We'll try that. This is new to me, and just if I don't know how to do something, I just start placing nodes. Hey, asshole, I'm shooting at you. See, he actually saw me, so. Yeah, he's not responding to the noise. On hear noise, pawn sensing, location. Well, hell, I guess plug that in there also. See if he'll come to either me or the other one. There's another AI move to as well, so we may have to fiddle with that. You don't hear me? You can still get shot, though. Pawn make noise. Maybe it's because it doesn't like that. So we'll try self. Get a reference to self. So I'm forcing it to say, hey, I'm the one doing it. The noisemaker. Yeah, I mean, it shouldn't need anything plugged into that. Loudness is 1. Alright, you see me. Now I'm out of your view. You don't see me anymore. He's not responding to the noise. Make noise. Report noise event. So let's try that. Since pawn noise didn't work, no, it's sound and seeing is two different things. Just like in real life, I mean, you can't hear with your eyes and you can't see with your ears, technically. But noise location. I mean, I don't want to plug in the location of the impact, but want that to be bang. We're doing this. We're making the noise. Report noise event. I've never tried that one either. So this is something that I don't do. Never done it, but doesn't mean that I can't figure it out. And see, that's the thing, is you learn by trying things. Report noise event didn't want to work, so let's do make noise. And noise instigator, not worried about that. Target should be that. Noise location. We'll plug that location in from our physical location. Actually, I'll break that. Let's get a reference to our mesh here, and then get world location. So we'll just leave this here, so we'll have an easier to get to location. Max range. I'm going to put that at 50,000. I don't care. I just want this to be known to the world. I just made a freaking noise. Alright. Now we're out of your sight. You're not responding to my noise. I'm shooting at you, asshole. Target dummy. On here noise, pawn sensing. Yeah, I don't see anything else here. Enable sensing update. Only sense players. See pawns. Hear noises. That's all on. Sight radius is 5K. Line of sight hearing threshold. Max distance at which a noisemaker one loudness can be heard if unoccluded. Okay. And hearing threshold. Well, let's get rid of the with that. So let's just run straight. If we hear a noise, we go to it. Target actor, we're not worried about. We're worried about the noise as the target actor. That seems logical. Just because it's logical doesn't mean it's going to work. You suck ass. Die. Okay. All else fails. Let's get rid of this. And let's do AI move to location or actor. This is the other one, not the one we've already used here. This is a different one. So we're going to plug this in. On here noise. Instigator is the goal actor. or location can be plugged in here. And it needs a controller. Get AI controller. That's not gonna work. It should get AI controller, but it's not. It should work. What are you doing? I mean, okay, let's go. Why you no can hear me? Why you no hear me? All right, that's something that we'll come back to. Is that just, it's obviously not working. So we're gonna do one more real quick thing, and we'll go from there. So I've never tried to use the on here noise or pawn sensing or whatever else. I've never used it before, so that's kind of a new thing to me. So we'll come back to that. Do one last thing here. Oh, you asshole! Get back up there. We'll get rid of this and this for now. So we're applying damage. But what if we want to make a headshot and do more damage? That seems logical. We're making a body shot, just generalized damage is going to do 25 damage. But if we want to do a headshot, we want to do 100% damage. We want a one-shot kill with a headshot. Hit bone name. We drag off from there. And equal name. So I just typed in equal. Now, let's type in, because I'm pretty sure that that's what it's called. I'm not being smart there. I mean, it has to be named the same thing as the bone name in the actual skeleton. So, if the hit bone name is equal to head, and here's the thing, instead of putting that there, let's run a sequence. Actually, run it before there. No, let's actually put the branch here, so we can do that. So if what we hit is equal to head, we're going to break this. Fault, we're going to apply a damage of 25. So we know that works. So we're just going to drag that out of the way. If it's equal to true, let's actually, first off, print text head shot. So we hit him in the head. It's just going to say headshot on the upper. It's not going to do any damage yet. So we just need to know that we're doing that separate amount of damage. So headshot. You get the hell off of me. So we shoot him in his ass. It doesn't do anything. Shoot him in the head. It says headshot. And that's what we wanted. So if you want to make a nut shot, use pelvis instead of head. So yes, I've done nut shots before. We're going to apply damage of 100. So we're going to play the sound, and then we're going to detect, did we hit him in the head? If we did, we're doing 100 damage. So he sees me, he's come running at me, so I'm going to get out of his view. I'm going to shoot him in his ass. 1, 2, 3, 4, and he's dead. Right? So as soon as he comes back alive, he'll have 100 health. Get out my damn face. Shoot him in the head. One shot. That should have killed him. That should have killed him. That should have killed him. What have we done? Hit actor needs to be connected to right there for the damaged actor. Duh. It's 3:45 in the morning. Starting to make mistakes. Not starting. Continuing making mistakes. Now I shoot him in the head. Excuse me. Stop. One shot. Headshot. Boom, dead. Headshot, dead. Okay, so you want to make it even cooler, and you want to make it to where, oh, I just did something awesome. I got a headshot. All right? We can flash something on the screen that says headshot and play a sound file that says headshot. And you can do all that same shit just by adding on to this part right here. If we hit him in the head, we're going to do this. So I can type him right there, print text, and type in headshot. That's good for us to see while we're testing, but that's not going to put something up on the screen. If you want to put something up on the screen, just like we did with the crosshair, we need to create a widget, then come back in here and create widget, and get a reference to player controller, add a viewport, and then you need a variable. I would call it like kill feed or headshot or whatever. And just like we did with this right here, we're setting that variable to true whenever we hit it, and then we'll put a delay in, and then a delay of 5 seconds or 3 seconds or whatever, and then we'll turn it off. So if you wanted that to work, save everything, go to UI, widgets, we'll just go to user interface, widget blueprint, headshot, well, I'm glad it helps. I mean, that's the thing, is just jumping in here and being casual about all this stuff, just to kind of be laid back and show the little things of how things work and why they work. With the pawn sensing, I've never used it before, so I will sit there and screw with it myself until I figure it out. But there's also plenty of videos out there. But sometimes the fun of Unreal Engine 4 is not actually making a game, but breaking shit and figuring out how to make it work. If you've got a really cool image with jagged edges around it, says headshot or whatever, and shows someone's head exploding or whatever, that's cool. You can put all in here, like images, buttons, borders, whatever. I'm just going to put some text in here. And whatever, we're going to anchor it to the top of the screen. We're going to make the text say headshot. And that's all we want. We're going to take the font size and, well, how big do we want it? So let's move the box around. We want it to kind of fill up about that much of the screen. That's delightful. So we'll make it big. Screw it, we'll make it 200. We'll just make everything fit around it. Just want that to flash on the screen. If you want to change the color, we've already got that red color preset. Yay, headshot. You want to do this? And it's going to say headshot. That's all it can do. We're not done with this blueprint just yet because we need a variable. Create a new variable. Headshot. No, we don't want it here. We don't want it in this character. No, Ask Clown, go away. Thank you. We want it to be in the player. We're going to add a new variable and headshot. Simplify this. We're going to create a custom event. Headshot stuff. What's going to happen when we get a headshot? Now, we could have actually plugged all this stuff in there, but we know that's working. We're just going to make it work in here. Compile and save. And we're going to get a branch. Thank you. We're asking a question. Did we headshot? going to go back up here. So we did this. We got our headshot. We did 100% damage. And we want to set headshot to true. So we now have this variable active. And then we're going to delay. We want that headshot thing to come up and just go away after a few seconds. So our delay is going to be 5 seconds. But what we need to do, though, is we need to create a widget during this time. And I'll just delete you. We'll add to viewport. Then we're going to delay our 5 seconds. And then we're going to set headshot to unchecked, which is false. Okay, so we need this also. Get player controller. So what we're going to do is when we run this custom event, we're asking a question: did we get a headshot? If the answer is yes, we don't actually need that. We really don't need that. Because we know headshot is true. We did it. We just made a headshot. We're going to put this custom event in behind the actual headshot stuff. Add the headshot widget to there, and then compost and save. So there, when we run headshot stuff, we're going to create the widget with a player controller reference. We're going to add it to our viewport, and then 5 seconds later, headshot is set to false. So now we'll come up here and headshot stuff. We're going to put our custom event right there. Compost and save. Now back in our widget, we're going to go to our graph. And now the reason why event tick is not going to be as horrible for right here is because this is only going to be up for 5 seconds and it's going to go away. So it's not going to be a horrible thing. So we want to cast to player underscore base, which is my player character. And we want to get player character. Oh, just totally just spazzed out there. So get player character, and we want to ask headshot. We want to get headshot, and if headshot is, if it is, we want true or false here. We want false. So if headshot is no longer true, then we want to remove from parent. It's going to make the widget go away. So that's that. It should work. I have faith. It should work. Headshot. And after 5 seconds, it'll go away, and there it's gone. If we shoot him in the body, it's not going to happen. Shoot him in the head, we get a headshot. You can do things like, since we headshot him now, and we headshot him on the ground, it's going to keep doing it while he's on the ground. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's cool. Trouble is, we can headshot him while he's on the ground. He's on there for 5 seconds or whatever, and we kill him not headshot. We shoot him in the head now, it's going to say it. There would be things we can do that, go to my character, player blueprints. We can get a reference to our target. So hit actor, and then we can ask the question, is hit actor equal to whatever? And if it is, then we check the state. Are they dead? And if they are dead, then we can't headshot them anymore. we can't do this. So there is a way I could actually go about that. But I'd probably need to put all this stuff at the end here. So damaged actor, I would need to come off from there. And if it is equal to, so we'll do cast to target dummy blueprint. So do that, and then run that. So we cast to see if it's the player dummy, and if it is, get is dead, and branch if dead is false. Then we can run this. So it's going to check. It's setting this variable here locally. So this is, we made that headshot. So we need to get rid of that. And since we're doing headshot stuff here, we would need to come back in here and move that over and set headshot is true. Connect those and do that. So in theory, he's dead. If I come over here and shoot him in the head, get down dead. Nobody told you to be alive. What the hell's wrong with you? We don't get the headshot notification. We'll shoot him in the head, and he's not dead. It's not doing it. If that is... Oh, shit. Never mind. If that is true, then we run the headshot stuff. Okay. Settle down. If it's false, then we don't want to be able to run that stuff. We're still doing damage. No, if that is false, then we're checking to see if they're dead. If they're not dead, then run this stuff. No matter what, though, we shoot him in the head, it's still going to apply 100 damage. Are they dead? No. Then do this stuff. Set headshot is true. Create the widget. Edit a viewport. Delay. Turn it off. Wow. That should work. If it doesn't work, I'll just disable that crap and worry about it right now. So make a headshot. I killed his ass. He's deader now. It's this. That's the problem. So again, troubleshoot, print text, and we'll just leave it to say hello. If we make a headshot, it should say hello if it detects that it was a headshot on this dude. It said hello. So let's delete there, put that back, and let's break this temporarily. And is dead. Control C, Control V, put that in here. is not dead. So we're going to see a result back one way or the other. Make a headshot. Is dead. Is true. Is dead. He's dead. He's dead. Well, it's always going to report back as dead because I just did 100 damage to his ass. Alright, so that's just not going to work. So we'll check on our dummy. Get health. And float is less than or equal to 0, which is the same as the death condition. Is dead. And it's still going to report back as dead because whenever his health is set back to 0. Yeah. You know what? Again, headshot stuff. And let's run that into... no. What do we do here? Get player controller, create widget, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, I broke everything. So, I mean, I can control Z and go back and back and back and back and back. But, you know what? It works. I will come up with a way of preventing that from popping back up again. You know, the easiest way to do it to prevent that from happening is inside here, our delay, it's on when we start the condition. 5 seconds later, it's no longer on. You could always do another check of, is headshot true? Or just run a branch, is headshot. So just move this over, put a branch in, and plug in headshot. So we're asking, is headshot active? If it is false, then we can do it. That way we can't do it until it's gone. So we get a headshot now. He's on the ground. That didn't work the way I wanted it to. Yeah, it's 4 o'clock in the morning. So I think what I would actually do is, since we know that we have the conditions right and everything else, and it detects this and that and everything else, we can actually come in here and get that reference that we used before, hit actor. Instead of using that, we'll just branch into here and say cast to target dummy, and we'll ask it, is it dead? If the answer is true, then we cannot do the headshot stuff. If it is false, then we can do it. That's what I would actually do. So headshot stuff, we'll drag you off of there, and that will need a branch. And we need it off of false, not off of true. And we need to cast to target. Oh, shut up. Target. What the hell is my target doing? Target underscore. Cast. Damn, I can't type. To target dummy. And we need to ask, is dead? If the answer is no, then no, that shit won't work. Because it's going to be true. We just took 100 health off. We just headshot him and killed him. So it's going to be true. You know what? It's best to come back to this whenever I had some rest. The fact that I have not eaten anything in probably 13 hours now. It's probably a good indication I need to take a break and get away from this for a little while. So, we're going to call it a night. You guys keep in touch on Facebook. Not Facebook. I don't use Facebook. Facepalm is what I call it. Keep up on Discord. I will continue on the Spitball series. But you guys got to ask questions, and then we'll go from there. I will try to figure out the noise thing. I said I haven't eaten anything in like 13 hours. It's time for me to take a break and eat something. And my chocolate milk's getting warm. I don't like warm chocolate milk. It's not the same as hot chocolate. All right. So, well, thank you guys for tuning in. And like I said, ask questions on Discord. If you have specific help that you want from other people to try to help, use the help request channel. If it's just a general question, just pop it in the general channel under the Unreal Engine 4. If you have just generalized BS, like, hey, General Mayhem, just kind of talking, just carrying on, just whatever non-UE4 related, I've got General Mayhem channel. Swag Shop, the only thing I've got is a couple mouse pads in there right now. I actually use one of the mouse pads myself. Use one of the Beefalo logos. I mean, you can see pictures on it. It's actually kind of a cool thing. I'm using the gel type. It's got a gel wrist pad, and it's got a decent sized center portion, and you can actually take the center mouse pad portion out and wash it and put it back in. It's not taped in, it's not glued in or anything like that. And it was only like $15, $20 or something like that. It was cheap. It's not bad. It's a good mouse pad for the money. But there's also the traditional foam rectangular type in there also. I'm going to start doing some t-shirts and stuff as well. It's on the Zazzle store. But yeah, we'll get into that. Thank you guys for watching, and keep in touch, and we'll see you around.